and people in general. So actually till this is the word to word translation of the verse. Prabhupada writes, adds in the translation, when the Brahmanas are killed, no one will exist to encourage the Kshatriyas to perform yagyas. And thus the demigods not being appeased by yagya will automatically die. Prabhupada is like voicing the mental thoughts of Hiranyakashipu. Purport. Since Vishnu is the central point of Brahmanical culture, Hiranyakashipu's plan was to kill Vishnu. For if Vishnu were killed, naturally the Brahmanical culture would also be lost. With Brahmanical culture lost, yagya would no longer be performed. And for want of yagya, the regular distribution of rainfall would cease. Yagyat bhavati parjanya. Thus there would be disturbances all over the world, and naturally the demigods would be defeated. From this verse, we get a clear indication of how human society is disturbed when the Vedic Aryan civilization is killed and Vedic ritualistic ceremonies performed by the Brahmanas are stopped. Kalau Shudra Sambhavaha. Because the population of the modern world consists mostly of Shudras, the Brahmanical culture is now lost and extremely difficult to re-establish in a proper way. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya has recommended the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, which will revive Brahmanical culture very easily. Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam. Kalau nasteva gatirannatha. Because of the increment in demonic population, people have lost Brahmanical culture, nor is there Kshatriya government. Instead, the government is democracy, yeah, democracy, in which any Shudra can be voted into taking up the governmental reins and capture the power to rule. Because of the poisonous effects of Kali Yuga, the Shastras, like Bhagavatam 12.2.13, says, Dasyu prayeshu rajasu. The government will adopt the policies of dasyus or the plunderers. Thus, there will be no instructions from the Brahmanas, and even if there is Brahmanical instructions, there will be no Kshatriyas, rulers who can follow them. Aside from Satyuga, even formerly in the days when demons were flourishing, Hiranyakashipu planned to destroy the Brahmanical culture and Kshatriya government, and thus create chaos all over the world. Although in Satyuga this plan was very difficult to execute, in Kali Yuga, which is full of Shudras and demons, the Brahmanical culture is lost and can be revived only by chanting the Mahamantra. Therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement or the Hare Krishna movement has been inaugurated to revive Brahmanical culture very easily so that the people may become happy and peaceful in this life and prepare for elevation to the next. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya also quotes this verse from Brahmanda Purana. Vipragyadi mulam tu harir iti asuram matam harir evai sarvasya mulam samyan mato nripa. O king, the demons think that Hari, Lord Vishnu, exists because of the Brahmanas and Yagyas. But factually, Hari is the cause of everything, including the Brahmanas and Yagyas. Therefore, through the popularizing of Hari Katha or the Sankirtan movement, the Brahmanical culture and Kshatriya movement, government, will automatically come back and people will be extremely happy. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Because of the heavy rain, we have less devotees today. So we are reading from Canto 7, Chapter 2, text number 11. Vishnu Dvija Kriya Mulo Yagyo Dharmamaya Puman Devarshi Pitrubhutanam Dharmasya Cha Parayanam. This verse is being spoken by Hiranyakashipu. In anger, he is trying to destroy Vishnu, and while he is engaged in destroying Vishnu, he is ordering his inmates to please destroy the Brahmanical culture. So if we see this verse, apart from the context, it appears like a perfect glorification of Lord Vishnu. Vishnu Dvija Kriyamulo. Who is Vishnu? Dvija Kriyamulo. All the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, especially they work to please Vishnu. Yagyo, he is the sacrifice personified. Dharma Maya, he is the root of all dharma. Puman, he is a personality. This is again difficult to understand, but Hiranyakashipu understood it. He is the personality of Godhead. Devarshi, Pitru, Bhutanam, Parayanam. So he is a shelter of Devarshis, he is shelter of Pitrus, he is shelter of all the living entities. Dharmasya cha Parayanam. He is also the shelter of all dharma. So this is a perfect description of Lord Vishnu. And we see that, but Prabhupada, after translating the verse as it is, he adds the inclinations of Hiranyakashipu in the translation also. When all the Brahmanas are killed, no one will exist to encourage the Kshatriyas to perform yajna, and thus the demigods, not being appeased by yajna, will automatically die. Now here we see that Hiranyakashipu is being angered by Vishnu killing his brother Hiranyaksha. He is trying to destroy Vishnu, and also because Vishnu took sides of demigods and trying to make them victorious, he also trying to destroy demigods. So he has double way plan. So on the top he will kill Vishnu, and from the ground he will destroy the Brahmanic culture, destroy the devotional service, and then so the demigods will also fast, starve, and seeing their starvation and fasting and death, Vishnu will also mourn and he will also die. So like that he is like attacking from the both sides. He's very determined in his sadhana to get destroyed himself. So Prabhupada is writing here that these are all evil intentions of the Hiranyakashipu. Though he is understanding Vishnu in its original sense, he is full number one. He is having the knowledge, but he is using that knowledge in a different context. So one time Radhana Swami Maharaj, he was speaking about, I think, Hiranyakashipu only. So he was telling that just the knowledge is not sufficient. We also need purification of heart to apply that knowledge. So that's why, like, when we see Roma Harshana sitting on the Vyasasan and speaking big things, but not able to apply it in right sense, then Balramji has to destroy him. So he had a knowledge, he was a Bhagavat Kathakar. Krishna in Gita also chastises Arjuna for speaking big things. Pradnyavadamsha bhashase. You are speaking like very pradnyavan, great knowledge you are speaking, but just bhashyase. You are just speaking big words, but your activities, ashochan anvashochastam. You are lamenting for that which is not supposed to be lamented for. So when there is a difference between your knowledge and your activities, it's a great turbulence actually. That is represented by Hiranyakashipu here. Because this canto is termed as uti, or inspiration or inclination or impetus. So what we know is not important, but what is our impetus is important. Same knowledge Prahlad also has. And Prahlad will be explaining same things to Hiranyakashipu. When Hiranyakashipu asks, why you are so confident? Why you are so positive? Even if I am troubling you so much, how come you are so fearless? And Prahlad will speak same thing. That from where you get powers, from same source I get powers. And that same source is Vishnu. Because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The same thing Hiranyakashipu is already speaking. So Prahlad is not telling something new. So both Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad has the same pool of knowledge. But what is different is impetus or intention or inclination. The heart's tendencies are different. That's why this canto is described as uti or impetus. So then the destination of these two personalities will be defined as we go ahead in the canto. Now in Gita, also we find many places Krishna talking about mudas or foolish people, just like we talk about Hiranyakashipu. So in Gita we can see different places, different mudas are described. Like first level of muda is one who doesn't understand body and soul. Utkaramantam sitam vapi bhunjanam va angudamitam vimudha na anupashyanti pashyanti jnana chetas. So those who are knowledgeable, they can understand that we are not his body, we are soul. But those who cannot see the soul, vimudha na anupashyanti. They are a fool. They are crazy. Then there is second level of muda. The first level is one who doesn't understand the soul. Second level is one who doesn't understand God. Namam dushkrutino mudha. Prapadanti naradhama maya pratagyana asram bhavash. So their muda is one who doesn't believe, atheistic, Prabhupada writes, who doesn't believe in God. So believing in soul is easy, but greater difficulty is believing in God. Like in the spiritual path, we start with self-relation, then God relation. So somebody doesn't have self-relation, murkha. No God relation, still muda. Even after understanding soul, still is considered murkha if he doesn't understand divinity. Then ninth chapter talks about greater muda, the finer muda, I can say, not greater. Avajananti ma muda, manushim tanumashrita. One who accepts that creator is there, God exists, but doesn't accept the personality of God. That Krishna has a form, he's a personality, the son of Nanda Maharaj, he has a family, he has a nature, he has his friends and relatives, everything. So one who cannot accept that personality, again Muda. But here we see Hiranyakashipu is not any of this. Because previously only he has described the science of soul to his family when Hiranyaksha died. So he described all the science of soul. So he is not first kind of Muda. Doesn't he believe in Supreme Lord? Of course he believes because he has seen the Lord killing his brother. So he is not second category of Muda also. Is he third category of Muda? That thinking that he is no form. No, he writes here, Puman. He is a personality. Dharmamaya. He is the origin of shelter of everyone. So he is not any of the three. But still he is foolish, proposite. So what kind of foolishness is this? So Krishna talks about this in Gita. He says, Agyascha ashaddhanasya samshayatma vinashyati. Nayam lokosti na paro na sukham The same verse talks about that. If we surrender to Krishna, he can help. So the second thing which has to remember is D for divinity. So I for identity, D for divinity. She says that anything which happens in life, it happens to the combination of three things. First is our karma, then Daiva, and then Kala. When these three things come together, then the result or any situation fructifies. So generally, we cannot see this Daiva, what is Krishna's desire, and Kala, what is Kala is carrying in its pocket, which is about to deliver in time. So that is very difficult to understand. So when Daiva and Kala cannot be understood, we keep blaming our karma or keep blaming ourselves or blaming people around for their deeds. But she says that because we don't understand Daiva and Kala, very difficult to understand what is happening, why it is happening. And this Daiva and Kala is not in our hand and not able to understand. That's why we cannot understand many times in life. We perform a small mistake and we get a greater punishment. In Bhagavatam, we see many examples. Any examples from Bhagavatam? A small mistake, but greater punishment was given. Parikshit Maharaj, the starting only. What was the mistake? Just putting some dead snake. Now, dead snake or a plastic snake, equal. Like we have in our childhood, we have done so many mischiefs like that. One time, I also brought one plastic snake in my house, and just to scare my mother, I just brought up on the kitchen table. And seeing that snake, my mother just ran away. Matlab, outside my colony only, not just house. So that we did so many times. Now Parikshit Maharaj did something like that, just putting a dead snake around. And what was the punishment given? Death penalty. Within 7 days, you will lose your life. Now, big reaction. Sometimes we see big mistakes, terrible mistakes, offenses, but no punishment. Any example from Bhagavatam? Ajamil did so much sinful life. One Narayana. At least some good he did, so that we can relate to. But some devotees, only mistakes, only offenses, but still forgiven. Indra in Vrindavan. The like greatest calamity brought to Gokul or Vrindavan is by Indra. Other demons only attack Krishna, but here he attacked the whole Vrindavan, all the near dear ones of Krishna. Trouble devotees, trouble everyone. But when Indra came, Indra said, please excuse me. He said, okay, so be it. Go be sober and rule again. Again made Indra. So difficult to understand. So what is Krishna's desire in this situation? We can understand. So Bhishma Pitama says, we cannot naisa karichit rajan puman veda viditsitam yat vijidnasya yukta muyyanti kavayopi. So when Yudhishthira Maharaj is not ready to be coronated, so Bhishma Pitama ultimately talks about this, that Krishna's will cannot be understood. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he says that when we come to devotional service, he says bhakti relieves us from the burden of being controller of this world. I'll again read. So bhakti relieves us from the burden of being the controller of this world. So before coming to devotional service, we carry this burden that I can control situations. That becomes the root cause of all the kama, krodha, lobha, whatever. So, but Bhakti Thakur says, when we understand that divinity, that Krishna's hand is ultimate deciding factor, so then we are relieved of this difficulty. She says that Krishna's plan we cannot understand because Krishna can even create greater opportunities from our mistakes also. And then she describes the incidents that when Durvasa Muni approaches Pandavas when they're in exile, and everybody has already taken the prasad, the utensils are clean, Akshapatra is already washed. And then Durvasa Muni comes asks for food, not for just him, but for all the 60,000 disciples. And Draupadi in despair, she calls out for Krishna. Krishna comes. But before asking, what is your problem? He says, I have some problem. I am hungry. Please give me something. And Draupadi said, nothing is there. I called you for that only. He said, no, you see, there must be something. Now when she goes and she finds an Akshapatra, there is something still remaining. Now when we clean utensils in our home, or maybe in backup, we clean them very nicely. Now Draupadi is such a cultured lady, and she is not washing some normal plates. She is washing Akshay Patra, a golden pot. Now we all have golden, you may have golden and silver pots in our house. how we clean them more carefully than the steel pots. So apparently, not washing that Akshay Patra rightly was a mistake. That keeping something still stuck to the pot, it's a mistake. But that mistake became a saving grace in that big calamity. So how Krishna will use our karma, we don't know. Our karma, our actions, our mistakes, our deeds may be used in positive ways. It can be used in negative ways also. So example is given by as like pistol. There are different kinds of pistol. One is a real pistol, which actually has gun bullets. Others is like just for kids we use. Mm, that like it only creates sounds. And some other pistol they don't have bullets only. So when you push trigger, depending on what is inside the pistol, will come out. So Mata is telling us the trigger, pressing trigger is like our karma. But what will come out is Krishna's will. So for devotees, not for non-devotees, but for devotees, pressing a trigger is our karma. But what will come out of forgiveness, punishment, or no reaction will depend on what is Krishna's will. We only see karma, but Daiva and Kala we don't see. What is Kala? Kala is Krishna's timeline. So when Krishna will give what? He has a complete freedom on that, Iswarat. So Mother is telling that if we understand this, that ultimately Krishna is the deciding factor, but that will create revengeful attitude just like Hiranyakashipu only. Tit for tat. Krishna did this with me, I should kill him. That was Hiranyakashipu attitude. But she says just knowing that Krishna is Supreme Lord is not sufficient. Krishna is a control is not sufficient. To understand that Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Sarva Loko Maheshwaram, but Surudam Sarvabhutana. He is also my well-wisher. If you understand that, then only we can digest that situation. Otherwise, we cannot. Mm. So when Abhimanyu was killed in Mahabharata, so Abhimanyu was killed when Arjuna was not there. So Yudhishthira Maharaj had taken that call that Abhimanyu should lead all of us into the Chakravyuha, and then may he is not able to come out, but we all remaining four Pandavas will break through the Chakravyuha and come out. But Jayadratha had a boon that for one day at least he can stop the Pandavas without Arjuna. And then Jayadratha stops them and the plan fails and Abhimanyu dies. So the whole blame kind of comes to Yudhishthira Maharaj. And Yudhishthira Maharaj is like, it's very easy to take blame on himself. So he becomes very angry that I am responsible, I should take revenge. And he tries to charge against Kauravas. And he's in very much great anger. But on the way, so Vedavyas stops him. And Vedavyas tells him many things. But one thing she tells is that, oh, please understand that this is all is a plan of the Lord. Now that only consoles Yudhishthir. And same thing was used by Bhishma only, also in the later part. So Surudam Sarvabhutanam Gyatva Mam Shanti Mrichati. So in that turmoil, how can we be peaceful when we understand that Krishna is my merciful well-wisher? That's a D. And then E was for try to see a bigger picture, eternal picture. So eternity, if you see from an eternal point of view, we can process some things nicely. Just like in school, like as small kids, we must have drawn that picture where we get so many dots on the paper, and each dot has a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we are told to join the dots. If you join the dots, then some nice picture will come. Some apple, butterfly, or some small home will be created. But generally, kids, they don't complete those drawings. Why? Because they are kids. They have very small, narrow vision. And they don't understand why going right, left, up, down, it doesn't make any sense to them with their narrow vision. But teacher who is standing beside, she can clearly see, just continue man, you will get a very nice butterfly. But because kids have small vision, they cannot continue. So similarly, if you have a smaller vision of time scale and try to resolve everything in now, why this is happening with me now, then it's very difficult to resolve. Why I'm going up, why I'm going down, why sometimes I'm doing right, sometimes doing wrong. So that situation when you go through in life, very difficult to get a clear picture of what's happening. But a devotee standing by, he can actually guide us that how these things are helping in your life. It is said that entering devotional service is like entering a cave, a very deep cave. Initially, when we enter a cave, we are like having adventure. Why? If anything happens, we can run back because we can still see the light coming from the entrance. But if you walk still ahead, after some time, you cannot see the light because you already taken so many turns, and now you are fearful. Why? Because you can't see even the light ahead. The pure devotee who can see the light ahead, they are fearless. Newcomers who can see the light behind, anything happens, I can again jump back to my material sense gratification. And in between, we jump back also. So the life is peaceful. But klishanti antarito jana. Those who are in the middle, they cannot see either light. So what can make them going? A person who is standing beside, who can see the eternal path, who can see the eternal journey of the soul, and can guide that no, it is coming ahead. Don't worry. So that seeing of eternal picture can make us peaceful in this adverse situation also. That was for E. So Mataji was telling that Lord Ram ruled for 11,000 years, but our mind concentrates on that 14 years of exile because that was the most turbulence. So similarly in life, we may have so many good times actually and so many blessings around, but our mind tries to capture on the calamity, the sad part, the sad story which we are going through. But that makes us disturbed. So that was E. And then she said, last is A. A is for action. Action means, okay, what happened. What I can do now? What is the right action to perform now? Just like in psychology, it says that anything adverse happens, the mind goes through 5 stages of accepting that situation. First is denial, that nothing happened, everything is all right, all is well, nothing is happening wrong. But second thing, when the situation persists, then person goes through what is called as anger. He tries to blame others. He tries to blame himself. That is happened because of him, her situation, or himself. I am this like that, and then still the situation persists because he is not doing anything. So then he goes to the third stage of bargaining. Bargaining is where he is trying to rectify the situation with some tool, some techniques, and he is not still accept the situation because he is trying to still bargain that not this much harm, I can still reduce the loss. So he tries to bargain with the situations. And then still the situation persists. Then he kind of accepting comes to the fourth stage, that is depression. Where he becomes like, oh, it did happen. And he's like depressed. This is the fourth stage. And the fifth stage is acceptance. Now, what is the difference between depression and acceptance? Depression is where you have accepted that this has happened. Now, what is the difference between depression and acceptance? So psychologists say that the acceptance means what has happened has happened. But let's think what I can do on this. So that readiness to fight back is acceptance. So Mother is telling all the knowledge of identity, divinity, and eternity will fructify only when you come back to your senses and continue your Krishna consciousness. Whatever we are going through is because of some karma we have done, but we should not add to more mistakes by neglecting devotional service. Action means immediately we have to jump in to our core spiritual activities of hearing and chanting and praying. So that is very important. So Chaitanya Charan Prabhu also says, so he gives a formula of KEM to come out of the mm, depressed mind. When we fail and we doubt, we become suspicious about Krishna's help in the path. So K was for knowledge. So all these three were knowledge only. But then he says, just the knowledge will not help. That I am this body, I am soul. But right now I am lusty. Right now I am greedy. Right now I am fallen. I am looking for sin gratification. So I can't feel that knowledge that I am soul. Right now I can feel only senses and sense objects. So you say just the K will not help, knowledge will not help. You also need E, that is experience. Experience that yes, I am soul. And that experience can come only from action. When we jump into Arti, we jump into Kirtan, we jump into chanting the holy name, we hear Shrimad Bhagavatam or read Prabhupada books. So that experience convinces us that this knowledge is right. Otherwise, just the knowledge will not take us out of it. So that is action. So Parikshit Maharaj, he was cursed. He was not just sitting and thinking, oh, I did mistake, I am so fallen, I always do such mistakes. But no, he took action and immediately approached devotees and started discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. Mm. So these are the four steps in Mataji says idea, I for identity, D for divinity, Krishna's plan, E for eternity, see the full picture, not just the initial ups and downs, and then A for action. We should jump into our core spiritual activities, then we can come out of it. Why we become disheartened is because we don't see that Krishna is protecting me. Krishna is not protecting my interests, Krishna is not protecting my family members. So Mother says when Krishna is offering protection, we should understand how the protection works. So protection works in different ways. P for sometimes Krishna will personally come and protect. Just like in Vrindavan, every time demon attacked, Krishna personally jumped in and protected. But that may not be case for every devotee. Krishna may not personally come and change the situation, kill the demons, solve the problems. No. Sometimes he will send his representatives. So in the protection also she has created acronym. So R for representatives. Sometimes Krishna will send his devotees who will guide us, who will stand beside us and then help us cross that situation and come out of it. Hmm. Just like for Pandavas, Vidur was always there. Bhishma Pitama was always there, guiding like wings of a mother bird to the siblings. So like that, Vidura, when Lakshagara was on the fire, supposed to be on fire, he already informed them, warned them, so guided them. So sometimes the representative devotee association comes and helps us. Then O for omnipresent Krishna. Sometimes devotees will not be seen. Sometimes even Krishna is not seen. But Krishna will be present there in a form which we cannot appreciate. Just like for Draupadi, when she called out for Krishna for help, Krishna came in a form of sari, like omnipresence. So he is there, but it in some other form, changing the situation to help us. For Brahma, when Brahma was born and he was bewildered, why I am here, and he was losing hope, then he guided. Tena Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. So he came as an omnipresent Krishna in his heart and gave knowledge. So protected from the situation. T. Sometimes Krishna will not personally or physically change situation, but give us teachings. Just like for Arjuna, Krishna was there on the chariot, but he was not lifting any weapon. No devotee is coming and actually kind of helping him. But Krishna just gave teachings. The teaching actually made Arjuna come out of that situation. That also protects. And then E. E is for sometimes he empowers us with special capacities, special ideas, special skills, and that makes it makes us come out of that situation. And then C is for sometimes the combination of multiple things comes in our life. And last is T, protect. So T is for time. So time is in Krishna's energy. With the time we are healed. So this time is again Krishna's form, which is coming to our rescue. Just like Kunti Maharani, when she offers her prayers to Lord Krishna, she says, Vipada Santuta Shashvat. She's asking again and again calamities. Why? Because looking back, she can understand that Krishna has protected me through all these combinations. Vishan Mahagne, Purusha Darshanat, Asat Sabhaya, Vanavasa Krishnata. See, in all these calamities, actually Krishna was not personally present. When Bhima was poisoned, Bhima was protected, but Krishna was not there. Maha when Lakshagara was on fire, Krishna was not there, but they were protected. Vishan, Mahagni, Purusha, Darshan, when Bakasura attacked, the Asuras attacked, Krishna was not personally there in Vanavas, but still they were protected. Mm. Then Maharathastra, all the Ashwathama releasing Brahmastra, Krishna was not seen by anybody protecting. Krishna was just standing there. But in the womb, Krishna, but nobody saw. But Kunti Mani looking back, she can feel that yes, Krishna did protect us. Just like boy, after we complete all the dots, when the last dot we join, then we realize the full picture. Similarly, when you look back in life, then we can understand, yes, Krishna was my present, but he protected me in all the situations. So it's tough when the situations go adverse, but with this, some understanding we can go through life and protect ourselves. Now, Prabhupada in this purport also talking about when when the chaos happens, he says that uh, thus there will be no instructions from the Brahmanas when the Kshatriyas are destroyed. And even if there are Brahmanical instructions, there will be no Kshatriya rulers who can follow them. Aside from Satyuga, even formerly in the days when demons were flourishing, Hiranyakashipu planned to destroy the Brahmanical culture and Kshatriya government and thus create chaos all over the world. So Hiranyakashipu's strategy was twofold. He wanted to destroy two things. First is knowledge, and second is administration. He wanted to destroy the Brahmanas, the Brahmanical culture, and second he wanted to destroy the Kshatriya government. So when these two are not in synchrony, when these two are destroyed, then there is a chaos in the society. It can be material society, it can be spiritual society also. So recently I was teaching IDC course to some devotees, and surprisingly there are many annexures or extra chapters attached to the IDC course. And one of the chapter talks about this. The chapter says that the greatest property of ISKCON are devotees. And the greatest property of devotees is their faith. And by any case, we have to protect the faith of the devotees. And then the passage reads ahead that how the faith is destroyed. If the faith is destroyed in the Brahmanas and Kshatriya, the devotee is destroyed. So faith in Brahmanas means the spiritual line of authorities, those who are inspiring us spiritually. And there it says it can be GBC member, it can be spiritual master, it can be community or traveling preachers, it can be anyone who is giving spiritual guidance. So they come under like Brahmana category. And second thing is managerial authorities. Those who are actually managing resources, expanding projects, creating gurukuls, farm communities. They give list of all the different gradations which we have in the society. There they says that, but these two authorities have a greater role to perform. And that role is to protect the faith in the other line of authorities. So Brahmana should act in a such a way that the faith of a devotee in the managerial authority is protected, and a manager has to act in such a way that their faith in the Brahmanical authority is protected. And there is a detailed description of how practically we can do that. So when I was reading that, I could realize that we are so much protected. Mm. Even the small attacks of Kali Yuga, how it will come and destroy our faith. Because once we destroy faith in devotees, we become samshayatmana. And samshayatma vinashyati. Nayam lokvasti na paro, na sukham param, samshayatmana. So samshayatma will not get any sukh and pleasure when he loses his faith. So just like Hiranyakashipu, he has so much knowledge, but because of adversity, he lost the faith. He got a doubt in his mind that he is a partial. And so he became like a demoniac person. So similarly, even if you have knowledge, but if our faith is destroyed, then our intentions, our uti, our impetus, our inclinations also change. And we also land up into asuric mentality. Prabhupada says that how we can be protected. And Prabhupada gives a very simple solution. Therefore, the Krishna conscious movement or the Hare Krishna movement has been inaugurated to revive the Brahmanical culture very easily so that people may become happy and peaceful in this life and prepare for the elevation in the next. How it can be done? Lord Chaitanya has recommended the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, which will revive the Brahmanical culture very easily. Hare Nam, Hare Nam eva kevalam, Kalo naste va naste gatrannatha. So this chanting of the holy name till it goes on, then this Brahmanical culture will be protected, and our faith in the holy name, if it is protected, then we are relieved from this uh, samshayatma mentality. Because of increment in demonic population, people have lost Brahmanical culture. And the only way Prabhupada says again in the last part of the paragraph that therefore, through the popularizing of Hari Kirtan or the Sankirtan movement, the Brahmanical culture and Kshatriya government will automatically come back and people will be extremely happy. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Any comments or corrections or doubts? Thank you so much. Granthana Bhagavatam ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Hare Krishna. My experience is when people see ISKCON from very distance, there are many doubts. We all had doubts about ISKCON. But when we come close to ISKCON, rather than we coming close, ISKCON comes close to us. Then doubts are removed. So only problem is we are standing very far from people. If you go close to them, then the doubts will be removed. It's practically when we see that people, we go too close to devotee, when the devotees go close to their life, and then their natural traits of a devotee like compassion and caring, when people experience that, automatically their doubts go. Just by proving that we are right, banging again on the social media that we are right. They may get, but they say this is just justification. But when they actually see a transform hearts, loving heart, when they experience, that's a Maharaja's preaching strategy. Like GEV, everybody appreciates ISKCON when they come to GEV. Why? Because there is experience. They see that donkeys are taken care, environment taken care. So the great teachers are teaching us that when we give people experience, that we really care. How much you know, we don't care, but when you care, we know. So that is only way I think. Maybe you can add your views on that. You must have something in mind.
Saying no, familiarity breeds contempt.
That is within ISKCON.
Yeah, when you go more closer, then you start seeing faults in each other. Yeah.
That is a greater problem. That is the next step. But then the family should also come up not just with devotees and their lacunas, but also with the holy name, Harikatha, Sankirtan. Then our purification will also happen with the more time spending with devotees. Just like Mataji, she was telling that when we get doubts, why we get doubts? Because for new devotees, their faith is second hand. Second hand means our faith is because he is telling, he is convinced, he is pure. So path must be right. And seeing them, we go ahead. But when we reach middle of the cave, it becomes very difficult. So when you are walking, the second hand experience should slowly also become first hand experience. We also should start experiencing the holy name, just like Prabhupada asking all the GBC members that why you believe Krishna is Supreme Godhead. So many said because you said no, because Gita says no, because Bhagavatam says no, because Vedas said no. Because when I chant, I can feel Krishna is Supreme Godhead. People say, yeah, that is right. So that slowly that second hand knowledge should transform into first hand knowledge. Then the familiarity thing will not harm us.
You didn't say that M part, KEM, knowledge, experience. What is M? What Chaitanya Charan Prabhu says?
Mercy. Even if you strive for knowledge, experience, but ultimately we need Krishna's mercy to come out of our negativities and adversities. So prayer, he suggests.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I
Comments?
just no comment. I just want to know that we are coming to Krishna conscious. We may not be very advanced devotees, right? The we have seen so many good things happening in our life, but if anything small thing happens, we go so into depression. Why is that? Why we are not able to remember what so many nice things that happened in our life? But only when small thing challenges come, we give up, and we start going into so much of depression. Why like this? Why like that? What do we do in that situation? How to help somebody like that?
I think that is natural. Being human, we will all go through. Like Arjuna cried when Abhimanyu died. So Krishna didn't say that, oh, it was a failure. No, Abhimanyu died and Arjuna cried. Yudhishthira also became angry. So that is natural. We will go through that phase. Just like in acceptance. Now this is not Gita. Psychologists were saying these 5 stages. So depression is one of the stage before you accept and act. So naturally we are going to go through this depression, anger, denial, blaming people, why this happened, that happened. So this is a natural psychological response. So it's nothing philosophy about it. So anybody who has a mind will go through this. Somebody will go very fast through these 5 stages. Somebody will go through very slowly, and then come to acceptance. So everybody has a different capacity in their mental state to handle situations. And it also depends on how big the adversity, the change is. And You must have seen more devotees, and some devotees losing their young sons and daughters, and getting divorced, and maybe parents, or devotees dying in a air crash. So in that time, immediately those emotions will arise, and we cannot blame devotees or blame ourselves that how can I go through this. I myself teach Gita and tell people so much knowledge. So Maharaj in one class in friendship with devotees says that how the devotee congregation works. That when I am down, you teach me. But after some time, you may be down, I will teach you. So it's not like everybody will remain on high forever. So somebody will go down, then others who are still there, they can pull up. And sometimes the same body who taught, he will go down. Because that's a natural way the mind works. When the situation comes, we will succumb. We will go down. It's okay. But if you have any association of devotees, community of devotees, that helps. That is such a great boon actually. Prabhupada just not gave knowledge and books, gave us a society, a community. Mm. And Maharaj again re-emphasizing on building community, community, community. Why? Because this friendship between devotees actually helps us. The same knowledge which we teach others, we also need to hear when we go through the same situation. And like that we come out. So Vedavas is now, we saw Vedavas is counseling Yudhishthir Maharaj. The Vedavas also need counseling at some point of time when Narad Muni came and counseled. So it's cyclical. So we all, like I'm sitting here and speaking, doesn't mean that I'm greater than all of you. So when my situation becomes worse, you will teach me. So we are all, each one, teach everyone, depending on the circumstances. Thank you for being there for us.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank
Hare
you so much.
Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
मैं भी पूछने वाला था एम किधर गया करके ये पूछ लिया मैं बोला केव मेडिकल केव का नाम क्या है सुपरवाइजर ये केव का डॉक्टर है इसको मत बात आगे चलो you want teach one everyone